When a delta transformer is used in reverse to step up voltage, specifically a 30 kVA 480 volts delta to 120/280 volts Y transformer, it's crucial to understand the implications of grounding the center tap. The primary reason the center tap of the delta side, often referred to as the high voltage side, should not be grounded is due to the potential for significant current flow when single phasing occurs. Single phasing refers to the condition where one of the three phases in a three-phase power system is lost. In a typical three-phase system, power is delivered through three separate conductors, each carrying an alternating current that is phase-shifted by 120 degrees relative to the others. This balanced system ensures a smooth and consistent power delivery. However, if one of these phases is interrupted, for example, due to a broken cable or a blown fuse, the system becomes single-phased. This imbalance can cause severe problems, especially for equipment designed to operate on a balanced three-phase supply. When single phasing occurs with a grounded center tap, current finds a path to ground through the transformer winding. This is because the grounded center tap provides a low impedance path for the unbalanced current. The transformer winding, which is designed to handle the normal operating current, is not designed to carry the full fault current that results from the single-phase condition. Consequently, the winding can overheat rapidly, leading to insulation breakdown and ultimately transformer failure. The wire connecting the center tap to ground, if undersized, will also overheat and potentially melt, as was observed in the described scenario with the 6 American wire gauge THHN wire. Another critical consideration is the potential for voltage shifting at the center tap during unbalanced loading. In a perfectly balanced three-phase system, the voltage at the center tap would ideally be 0 volts relative to ground. However, in real-world applications, loads are rarely perfectly balanced. This means that the current drawn by each phase is not exactly equal. As a result, the voltage at the center tap will fluctuate. Theoretically, this voltage can range from 0 volts under perfectly balanced conditions to the full line voltage when one leg of the three-phase load is open or heavily loaded compared to the others. Grounding the center tap in such a scenario creates a direct path for this fluctuating voltage to drive current to ground, further exacerbating the risk of overheating and failure. From the transformer manufacturer's perspective, grounding the center tap is generally not acceptable. This is because there is no guarantee that the center tap connection will remain solidly grounded over time. A loose connection or a high impedance path to ground can create additional problems. For example, if the center tap connection is made with a crimp or spade terminal instead of a bolted connection with a lock washer, the connection may loosen due to vibration or thermal cycling. A loose connection increases the impedance of the ground path. If sufficient current flows through this high impedance connection, it can overheat, creating a fire hazard. Therefore, manufacturers typically specify that the center tap connection should be made with a bolt and lock washer to ensure a secure and reliable connection. It is also important to ground the transformer case. This is a separate safety measure designed to protect personnel from electrical shock. If the transformer insulation fails and the case becomes energized, a properly grounded case provides a low impedance path for the fault current to flow to ground. This will trip the overcurrent protection device, such as a circuit breaker or fuse, quickly de-energizing the transformer and preventing a potentially fatal electric shock. The absence of a proper case ground increases the risk of electric shock to anyone who comes into contact with the transformer. In summary, firstly, do not ground the center tap of a delta transformer. Secondly, the center tap will lead to potentially overheating and failure during single phasing or unbalanced loading. Thirdly, ensure all connections are tight, secure with bolts and lock washers, and inspected and maintained regularly. Fourthly, always ground the transformer case to provide a safe path to ground for fault currents. Fifthly, understand the specific application and load requirements. Choosing the right transformer size and configuration, as well as implementing appropriate overcurrent protection, is crucial for ensuring safe and reliable operation. Sixthly, it's important to consult with qualified electrical engineers or technicians to ensure compliance with local electrical codes and best practices. These codes and practices are in place to protect people and property from the hazards associated with electricity. Neglecting these guidelines can have serious consequences, including equipment damage, fire, injury, or even death. The NEC, or National Electrical Code, provides comprehensive guidelines for electrical installations, including transformers. It is important to be familiar with the relevant sections of the NEC and to follow them carefully. For example, NEC Section 450 covers transformers in detail, including requirements for grounding, overcurrent protection, and ventilation. The size of the grounding conductor is also important, as defined in NEC Table 250.122. This table provides guidance on the minimum size of equipment grounding conductors based on the rating of the overcurrent protective device in the circuit. Using an undersized grounding conductor can limit the effectiveness of the grounding system and increase the risk of electrical shock. Overcurrent protection is also essential for protecting transformers from damage due to overloads or short circuits. The overcurrent protection device, such as a circuit breaker or fuse, should be sized appropriately to protect the transformer without causing nuisance tripping. NEC Section 450.3 provides guidance on selecting the appropriate overcurrent protection for transformers. The location of the transformer is also a consideration. Transformers should be installed in a well-ventilated area to prevent overheating. NEC Section 450.11 provides requirements for transformer ventilation. In addition, transformers should be protected from physical damage. For example, transformers installed in areas where they are likely to be struck by vehicles should be protected by barriers. Furthermore, understanding the kVA rating of the transformer is crucial. kVA stands for kilovolt amps and represents the apparent power that the transformer can deliver. It is calculated by multiplying the voltage and current of the transformer. When selecting a transformer, it is important to choose one with a kVA rating that is sufficient to handle the load. Overloading a transformer can cause it to overheat and fail. Understanding the vector group of the transformer is also important, especially when paralleling transformers or connecting them to other power systems. The vector group describes the phase relationship between the primary and secondary windings of the transformer. Mismatched vector groups can cause circulating currents and other problems. Common vector groups include Dielavin, Dione, and Yizera. Furthermore, consider the impedance of the transformer. Transformer impedance is the opposition to the flow of alternating current. It is typically expressed as a percentage of the transformer's kVA rating. Transformer impedance affects the fault current level and the voltage regulation of the transformer. Lower impedance transformers will have higher fault current levels and better voltage regulation. The insulation class of the transformer is also important. The insulation class refers to the maximum temperature that the transformer's insulation can withstand without degrading. Common insulation classes include A, B, F, and H. Higher insulation classes can withstand higher temperatures. Finally, remember to perform regular maintenance on transformers. Regular maintenance can help to identify and correct potential problems before they lead to failure. Maintenance tasks may include visual inspections, insulation resistance testing, and oil sampling. By understanding the principles of transformer operation, grounding, and protection, electrical professionals can ensure the safe and reliable operation of these critical components of the electrical system. Remember that working with electrical equipment can be dangerous. Always follow safe work practices and wear appropriate personal protective equipment. If you are not qualified to work on electrical equipment, consult with a qualified electrical professional. Ignoring the NEC can have severe consequences, including failing inspections and having to redo work. Make sure to get the correct permit as well, which is a critical step that is often overlooked, leading to significant delays and additional costs. Before commencing any electrical work, obtaining the necessary permits from the local authorities is crucial. These permits ensure that the installation meets safety standards and complies with local regulations. The permitting process typically involves submitting detailed plans of the proposed work, including wiring diagrams, equipment specifications, and load calculations. Once the plans are approved, an inspector will visit the site to verify that the work is performed according to the approved plans and the electrical code. Failing to obtain the required permits can result in fines, project delays, and even legal action. In addition to permits, it is also essential to follow local regulations regarding electrical work. These regulations may vary depending on the location and can cover a wide range of topics, including wiring methods, grounding requirements, and equipment installation. It is the responsibility of the electrical contractor or installer to be familiar with these regulations and to ensure that the work complies with them. Failure to comply with local regulations can result in penalties and rework. Moreover, proper coordination and communication with other trades involved in the project is vital for a successful electrical installation. Electrical work often needs to be coordinated with other trades, such as plumbers, HVAC technicians, and carpenters. Effective communication and coordination can help to avoid conflicts and ensure that the work is completed efficiently and safely. This includes coordinating the location of electrical equipment, such as panels and outlets, with other building systems such as plumbing and ductwork. It also involves ensuring that the electrical work is completed in a timely manner to avoid delays for other trades. In addition to technical skills, electrical professionals also need strong problem-solving skills. Electrical systems can be complex, and problems can arise unexpectedly. Electrical professionals need to be able to diagnose problems quickly and efficiently and to develop effective solutions. This requires a thorough understanding of electrical theory and practical experience. It also involves being able to use a variety of test equipment, such as multimeters and circuit tracers, to identify the source of the problem. Strong troubleshooting skills can save time and money and ensure that the electrical system is operating safely and reliably. Understanding load calculations is important. Load calculations are used to determine the amount of electrical power that a building or system will require. These calculations are used to size the electrical service, feeders, and branch circuits. Accurate load calculations are essential for ensuring that the electrical system is capable of handling the anticipated load and that it is not overloaded. Overloading an electrical system can lead to overheating, equipment failure, and even fires. There are several methods for performing load calculations, including the standard method and the optional method. The standard method is more conservative and is typically used for larger installations. The optional method is more flexible and can be used for smaller installations. Both methods are described in the NEC. The voltage drop is another critical consideration in electrical installations. Voltage drop refers to the decrease in voltage that occurs along a conductor due to its impedance. Excessive voltage drop can cause equipment to malfunction or fail. The NEC specifies the maximum allowable voltage drop for branch circuits and feeders. The voltage drop can be calculated using a formula that takes into account the length of the conductor, the current flowing through the conductor, and the impedance of the conductor. The voltage drop can be minimized by using larger conductors or by shortening the length of the conductors. Another important aspect of electrical work is safety. Electrical work can be dangerous, and it is essential to follow safe work practices at all times. This includes wearing appropriate personal protective equipment, such as safety glasses, gloves, and insulated tools. It also involves energizing circuits before working on them and using lockout-tagout procedures to prevent accidental energization. Never work on electrical equipment when wet or in damp conditions. Always assume that electrical circuits are energized even if they are supposed to be de-energized. Use a voltage tester to verify that circuits are de-energized before working on them. When working on ladders or scaffolds, be sure to follow safe work practices to prevent falls. Be aware of the hazards of working near energized equipment, such as overhead power lines. If you are not qualified to work on electrical equipment, consult with a qualified electrical professional. Finally, remember that electrical work is a continuous learning process. The electrical code is constantly being updated, and new technologies are always being developed. Electrical professionals need to stay up to date on the latest developments in the field to ensure that they are providing the best possible service. This can be achieved by attending training courses, reading trade publications, and participating in professional organizations. Continuous learning is essential for maintaining competence and for advancing in the electrical field.